Let me get on up here on the hog. All right.
And I cannot see the can.
Oh, that is sick.
Sus scrofa, or wild hogs, are an invasive species that were brought over to North America by European colonizers. By definition, a wild hog is a domestic pig that has escaped or been released into the wild and is living more or less as a wild animal. The basic biology and anatomy. The wild boar is a bulky, massively built animal with short and relatively thin legs. The trunk is short and massive, and the region behind the shoulder blades rises into a hump. The head is very large, taking up 1/3 of the body, and well suited for digging. Wild boars have a well-developed sense of smell, and its hearing is also acute, though its eyesight is comparatively weak, lacking color vision. The average weight of a full-grown adult male is around 200 pounds, and an adult female is around 175 pounds. And because of their diverse ancestry, wild pigs can come in a variety of colors. The most common color phase tends to be black or dark brown, but individuals can be nearly any combination of colors. Feeding. Wild pigs eat almost anything. They are highly versatile, opportunistic omnivores, and their food can be divided up into 4 categories: rhizomes, roots, tubers, and bulbs, all of which are dug up throughout the year; nuts, berries, and seeds when ripened; leaves, bark, twigs, and garbage; and also small mammals, rotting meat, eggs, young birds, and invertebrates such as worms, insects, and insect larvae. Reproduction. Wild pigs can reproduce rapidly. They have a high reproductive potential. Some individuals are sexually mature as early as 6 months of age. The average litter consists of 4 to 6 piglets, with the maximum being 10 to 12. Females can give birth twice in 1 year, and males can breed with 5 to 10 sows in one breeding period. Once a mating period begins, male boars are ready to reproduce. They travel long distances in search of a sounder of sows, while eating little food along the way. Once a sounder has been located, the male drives off all young piglets and other animals while persistently chasing the sows. At this point, the male is fiercely fighting potential rivals. By the end of the rut, male boars are often badly mauled and have lost around 20% of their body weight, with bite-induced injuries all over. Habitat and behavior. Wild pigs can live almost anywhere. They are habitat generalists, highly adaptable, and they can tolerate a wide range of climates. They can live as far away as a day's walk from water. Wild pigs are typically social animals, living in female-dominated sounders, consisting of barren sows and mothers with young, led by an old matriarch. Male boars typically live in solidarity when it's not mating season. Also, wild pigs have low rates of natural mortality. They have few predators in the United States and are only vulnerable to predation when young. That means mortality is mostly a result of humans, by means of hunting, trapping, or car collisions. Signs of pig activity. The 5 main telltale signs of activity are rooting, tracks, wallows, nests or beds, and tree or post rubs. Rooting can be identified by the moderate to large amounts of upturned soil. Tracks can be identified by the round-shaped, blunted toes and wide dew-claw marked tracks in the soil. Wallows are moist areas near ponds or creeks that pigs use to cool themselves off in the summer heat. Nests or beds can be found in low-growing dense vegetation. And finally, tree and post rubs are markings on the trunks of trees and the bases of utility poles that indicate pig activity. Damage. As of 2013, the estimated population of 6 million feral pigs causes billions of dollars in property damage every year in the United States, both in wild and agricultural lands. In agriculture damage, pigs can damage crops by eating, trampling, or uprooting them. Rooting and wallowing causes damage to the plant roots and creates holes and ruts that can damage farm equipment and endanger operators. Wild hogs may occasionally prey on livestock, such as newborn lambs, goats, or calves. Pigs also pose a threat to native wildlife. Wild pigs compete for food and space with native wildlife species. They are predators upon smaller animals and destroy native plant communities by rooting, wallowing, and trampling. They also threaten the ecosystem. This is by compacting soils, which in turn disrupts water infiltration and nutrient cycling. Pigs also decrease the water quality content through bacterial contamination of their fecal matter. There are three types of management for wild pigs, which are trapping, exclusion, and shooting. Trapping is a common and effective way of removing wild pigs. There are two common traps: the box trap, which is relatively small but constructed using a door system with a tripwire to allow entry but prevent escape, and corral traps. They are designed to catch a larger number of pigs than box traps. Corral traps are round and constructed with a drop gate triggered by a tripwire. The tripwire is baited on the opposite end of the door, which allows entire sounders to be captured at once and prevent trap education of other wild pigs. Exclusion. Excluding wild pigs using fencing is an effective option, although it can be expensive. Wild pigs are strong enough to upturn many types of fences and simply go under them. However, if implemented on a small scale, it can be practical. And finally, shooting. Shooting is a popular method of control with wild pig populations. However, recreational hunting alone is not an effective control method. Pressure from hunting will drive wild pigs to move away from where they are, and will only restrict their movements. The management plan. An efficient management plan would utilize all three methods of control. Wild pigs can effectively be managed through small-scale exclusion, trapping, and shooting. However, all methods of control are only effective long-term if adjacent property owners work together cooperatively to reduce population size. Otherwise, even the most efficient pig removal programs would suffer from frequent
Hello, my name is Garrett Roth. I work for Camp 5 Outfitters as a hunting guide. Before I worked for Camp 5, I went to Cal Poly and graduated with Agricultural Systems Management major. I've been working with Camp 5 now for 5 years. I guide their hunts. Some of the hunts that we do are feral hogs, wild turkey, tule elk, and Columbian blacktail. Most of the hunts that we do with Camp 5 are the wild pig that run wild on these hills. The feral pig that we have here is not a native species, it's actually an invasive species. Years and years ago, the European wild boar, the white boar or Russian boar, was brought over here and released, and that specific species of the wild or European boar, when it was let loose, and during that time the domestic pigs farmers had in their yard were not pinned up. They were running around the farmstead, and those European boars bred with the domestic pigs that the farmers had, and that's what we have today is the hybrid. Something to know about wild pigs, or some facts about them that from me studying their nature and glassing them all the time. They are a predictable animal, a creature of habit. This in the winter time or in the wet months, when there's green grass, they're very scattered out, eating the grass and rooting up under oak trees or looking for old acorns or nuts or something that they missed when they were falling in the fall. In the summertime, in this area, there's lots of dryland farming, so they'll be coming into the fields eating the barley and hay crops that we grow here. Also around this area there's vineyards, and they will get into the vineyards and eat the grapes and root up on the moist ground. So some of the difficulties with farmers around here is the pigs getting into the crops. They will do damage. They'll eat the head off the barley, or they'll root up. When it's first growing, the grass will be 6 inches tall. They will come in there and root it up and take that crop away. There's times when we plant, when we're out there planting, the pigs will come in and they'll follow the trench of the seed and eat the seeds. So they do damage to the crops. So that's where Camp 5 Outfitters comes in. We help manage the population of pigs by harvesting them. We do about 200 pigs a year, and so that helps in this area to keep the control, the numbers of pigs that are running around, and help the farmers out. In groups of pigs, I would say usually you see about 6 to 10 pigs. In the winter time, when they're scattered out, they're in smaller groups. In the summertime, when they're coming down to these farm fields, they will bunch up in big groups, and it wouldn't be crazy to say you'd see 30 to 40 pigs in a group. Big boars, larger mature boars, they're usually by themselves, so if you see a lone pig, it's a good chance it's going to be a bigger boar. And a big boar can range, a mature boar can range out here from 250 pounds to 300 pounds. The largest we've ever harvested was 385 pounds, which is an old boar out here. They can reproduce year-round, but mostly in the month of March is when most sows are having their piglets. And when the grass is green and the food is abundant, that's when mostly you're going to see their piglets. And also, Mother Nature's way of having their piglets this time of the year is because of cover. The grass is getting taller, and they're able to hide the piglets from coyotes and other predators and keep them safe.
What's your personal opinions on the pesticide that they're releasing for feral hogs in Texas?
In Texas, from what I've heard, the pigs are threatening people's livelihood. They are getting into the crops, and overnight, just turning up a field, their pigs are so thick they've gotten out of control. And that's just something that we do have to be stewards of the land, but it comes to a point where we can't allow that to affect our livelihood. So I do agree with the pesticides to manage the pigs. I don't think they should be eradicated, but the numbers do need to be controlled.